Everyone is wondering why Bitcoin is stuck at the 100K range. Well, Dr. Jeff Ross, the world's best performing hedge fund manager, just revealed the 3 reasons that help explain why Bitcoin isn't $140,000 today and why he's predicting a prolonged Bitcoin bull market going into 2026. Before we get out there, though, let's start from the beginning. Of course, I got Sophie back with us, the wonderful Sophie. You guys have been asking about her, where she's been. She's finally home. Anyways, let's break down this thread a little bit. So if you've been around, this might not be new news for you guys, but it is confirming a lot of stuff that I've been saying on the show. And you know me, I love to confirm my bias and show you guys that my 42 IQ is always on point. So Dr. Jeff Ross kind of explains this as his 3 burner theories. Essentially, once these burners get turned on, Bitcoin is going to rip. And the first one is liquidity. So let's play this clip. We'll talk about it. And then I got a couple more clips. We'll explain what all 3 are.
Bitcoin itself is the great absorber of liquidity, and it's literally the inverse of fiat currency. So if fiat currency is rapidly expanding around the world, Bitcoin at some point is going to absorb that. And then I like to break things down into 3 categories, and I don't mean to talk about gold here because there's a lot of gold haters, but I came from Bitcoin previously as a gold bug because I was looking for sound. I'm like Peter, but instead of staying on gold, I actually went to the next step and said, oh, obviously Bitcoin is 1,000 times better than gold, Peter. But anyways, that's neither here nor there.
Gotta love the drive-by shots on Peter Schiff here. But as it explained in the tweet here, of course, we've seen 3 straight years of red hot monetary expansion. Now we're starting to see some contraction a little bit, or rather they were pivoting a little bit that there would be some contraction. Now it seems like we're most likely going to see more expansion of the money supply globally. Every country around the world, at least all the ones that, well, I was going to say something that probably doesn't sound right, but at least all the big ones are in a position right now where they're having trouble. The national debts are getting out of control. They're starting to ease interest rates. Basically, the free money has to come back on the table because, as Lynn Alden always says, they can't stop this train. And so global monetary supply bottomed in Q4 of 2022 and has been expanding ever since. And of course, the central banks are flooding markets with fresh money. But as it says, liquidity is not alone. And we all know Bitcoin does move along this idea of global monetary liquidity or global M2 money supply. So the liquidity is coming. But it's there. It just hasn't ended up in Bitcoin. And I do have a clip from the Blackrock CIO later, which I think is going to kind of show us, again, another point of where we are in the zeitgeist right now, that essentially, yes, Wall Street is bending the knee to Bitcoin, but they haven't fully dove in yet. They're not fully convinced yet. They're just kind of throwing a little bit of chump change into Bitcoin, maybe, 1 to 3% allocation into Bitcoin. But once they realize what is going on, and I think the gold price recently is showing us that there are starting to be some panics in the market, which obviously, as we like to say, hey, if gold's pumping this hard, eventually Bitcoin will pump. Now, Soph, I know you're not the biggest macro expert here, but the first point's very simple. The more money in the supply, the more it's got to find a safe place to park, and that is, of course, Bitcoin. So you get that much, right?
Yeah, I was about to say, I think that it's interesting that these quote unquote big economies are kind of being the slowest ones to adopt a Bitcoin standard. You see these smaller, quote unquote, economies, smaller countries like El Salvador and but what was this other country that whatever? I'm like El Salvador.
Bhutan.
Yes, Bhutan. I was like like no, it's Bhutan. You see these smaller economies adopting it because they see the opportunity and because the stakes aren't as high. The stakes for these huge economies they've literally never been higher, and they're put against the wall right now. They're between a rock and a hard place where they have to either accept that their monetary system is not working and go into Bitcoin, or just ride the ship all the way down and just like see what happens. But I don't think that second option is very viable. And I think that it's kind of like the slow, painful process of accepting that their way just isn't working anymore, that a centralized financial system isn't working anymore, and that they are going to have to, at some point, relinquish some control. Now, this happened with other industries as well. This is happening as we speak with the information age. You know, media outlets have not wanted to let go of control of the centralization of information. And ever since the internet has become a thing, I think they've had to like slowly adapt, right? Now you see legacy media pundits, like, for example, Tucker Carlson. He switched from, you know, being on Fox News, obviously he got fired, but like, to having his own podcast. You see people, Megyn Kelly, she left legacy media and she has her own podcast. And this is happening, you know, across the board. It's only a matter of time before this idea also takes hold of the financial industry. And so it's a slow, painful process. You know, the truth hurts and it's a tough pill to swallow, but the orange pill will set you free, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm just waiting for, you know, we're good. You and I are good because we've been stacking sats. So now let's see if these big economies and big countries get a clue.
Yeah, well, it is interesting that you did say something that I think is probably the most important aspect of this is they will ride this ship as long as they can. And they're in that scenario right now where you're starting to see the panic and they're trying to do whatever they can to maintain their legitimacy. Obviously, from our perspective, they have no legitimacy at all. We don't believe that 12 people should control the money. So we don't believe a small group of anyone should be controlling the money supply. That's why I guess we have given away our power to the algorithm, aka the Bitcoin network. So we can't trust humans, and this is where we are. We do trust centralized power here to, you know, correct the economy, and that's kind of what's going on. All right, let's move on to the second one. And I've been saying this for you guys. This is why I think I've kind of pivoted a little more towards the macro stuff. You guys have been, you know, you either love the macro takes or you're like, why do you care about the fiat system, OPTI? Like, it's only Bitcoin that matters. I'm like, guys, we are in the middle of one of the greatest moments in not only like economic history, but in human history. And the economic landscape is a bit tricky right now. There's a lot of weird stuff going on. There's a lot of upheaval, new technology, of course. The fiat system has to keep going. It's basically limping, but they're going to try to find some, you know, rocket fuel to keep it going. And so this is where number two comes in, is that the economic condition globally, not just in the US, but globally, is in a very bad situation. So let's hear that clip and then we will come back.
The second thing that's super interesting is the U.S. economy continues to lag. So the U.S. manufacturing indices that have been coming out, manufacturing has been in a contraction or in a bear market since 2022. So we're talking 3 years of basically a recession for the manufacturing sector.
So again, as I've been telling you guys, I've been showing you a bunch of the different data going on. The global economy is stressed right now. It is rough. And even though the headlines are telling us, hey, everything's good, everything's better than it's ever been, like, trust us, bro, look at these numbers, as I will break down later in the show, it's becoming very obvious that all the economic data is fake. It is all been fluffed up to make it look like it's doing better than it is. But when you go and talk to your friends and family, when you talk to people on Main Street, everyone knows that there's a problem. Inflation is going up. Our grocery prices are going up. Rent's going up. The two jobs that a lot of people are working can't pay for just the normal things we're used to. Like, the economy is in a very perilous position right now. And this is probably the main factor, I think, as to why Bitcoin hasn't really started running. As we've all been talking about, you know, we've been bringing up the Google Trends on this show a lot. There's no interest in Bitcoin. And one of my earliest takeaways, and you guys repeat this in the chat as well, is like everyone's broke. Of course, they're not able to buy Bitcoin. They literally have no excess right now. Whereas in 2017, when things got crazy, literally we had governments giving us money. We had free money here. Now we're in a different era here, and people are, you know, trying to adjust to this new paradigm we're in. It's like times are tough. Now in the Bitcoin world, we really are just complaining that Bitcoin can't break out of 100K, but everyone else is having a hard time just surviving. And I think that's the biggest signal. People just don't have the free money anymore that they used to. They don't have the luxury and the profits now. They really have to cut back on what's going on because there is this global macroeconomic problems going on, and people are feeling this. And of course, when things start to go wrong, whether they know it or not, people start to tighten up their balance sheet. They start to tighten up their expenses. I think that's what's going on in at large in the macro landscape. So number one, liquidity is obviously in our favor. Number two, the economic landscape that we're seeing ourselves in right now is very uncertain. And of course, when it is uncertain, the people with the real investments, the real cash, what do? They sit on the sidelines. They wait until they get clear signals before they start to deploy that capital. I think that is like probably the biggest kind of headwind we've been facing this last year is people just don't know what's going on right now. And so they're piling in cash. They're piling in gold. They're just sitting on their normal investments because they're trying not to go too risky here. And of course, Bitcoin is still considered a risk asset. So yeah, that's the main probably driver right now.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. And like the point that you were making about how people are literally living on a day-to-day survival track right now. There is no excess. You're right. I think like, you know, and this has been going on for years. I did some street interviews a couple of years ago, and I was asking people like, hey, do you guys save money? Do you have investments? And the answer across the board was literally no. And if it was yes, it was in something safe like a mutual fund or something that would give you like a 2 to 3% return a year. People are not emotionally, psychologically, spiritually in a position to put their money in something that they consider volatile, and further, something that they don't understand. Because when you don't understand that, then that's the thing. That's also a really big problem. A lot of people not only don't have the access, but they don't take the time to understand how Bitcoin works. And that's why programs like this, like Simply Bitcoin, are so important for you to share with your friends so that people can understand how they can escape this rat race and how this is so different from every other quote unquote investment. This is an actual savings account that doesn't require you to go get a safety deposit box or take a trip every couple of years to Switzerland to, you know, get a bar of gold that you're absolutely just never going to use in your life. It's just not practical. This is the future. This is what people are going to use. This is how, you know, the monetary system is moving forward. The governments know it. Big institutions know it. Everybody knows it. And now it's just a matter of you kind of learning for yourself and taking that leap of faith and shifting your paradigm. And I think that that's like also one of the biggest problems is that, you know, people don't want to learn about it. They don't want to understand it.
Yeah, no. So you bring up a point that I think about constantly, and you reminded me of it with those street interviews. And I've seen a lot of street interviews and they're not like Bitcoin related. It's just like asking people, you know, asking strangers on the street to show them their bank accounts. And you'd be surprised just how little people are saving. Like savings is not sexy right now. This is why even talking about Bitcoin is hard for a lot of people because one, they want to just see their wealth increase. Like they just, hey, give me gains overnight. And two, telling people to save, even though it's a tried and true blueprint, people don't want to save. They're like, I want to spend more money. I am not trying to say like savings is not sexy.
That's thanks to social media. When
100%.
When you see people thriving on social media who are like making a living off of, you know, spending hundreds of thousands of dollars a year on furniture, on new clothes, on vacations that they literally go into debt for. That's the part that like most people don't understand, is that like they go into debt for these excursions and luxury items and then they get paid afterwards. Maybe they're taking a risk themselves. Actually, this whole like social media thing is an investment in and of itself. But people who don't know that look at that and they're like, you know what? I want to live like that. I deserve to live like that. I work 2 jobs. I work super hard. Like, why can't I live like that? And the reality is, it's not you. It's not that you're not working hard enough. It's not that you don't deserve the things that these influencers have. It's that the money is fundamentally broken. And if the money is broken, no matter how hard you work and no matter what you do, you're not going to be able to catch up and get to these things. And yes, saving has been a tried and true thing, but what happens when you're saving in dollars? What happens when that inflation tax starts eating away at your savings and you don't even know that it's happening? You know, and again, that's why I come back to the fact that most people are just not educated on, first, how the our monetary system works, and second of all, how, oh my god, that's so funny, I need to finance my DoorDash. Just cook at home,
Klarna your burrito,
bro. Watch a YouTube channel like on cooking, it's free. So yeah, it's a lot about how our society is just like messed up right now, and how we view things, but it's also very much a lack of education, financial literacy.
Totally. And I mean, look, everyone is in a pretty bad economic situation, even though the headlines are telling us, hey, it's the best it's ever been. When you get down to the data, which is still fake. And so you could look at the official data and it's still showing you it's not good. Even though they try to gaslight us into telling us it's good, it's still not good. And it's literally like, I think at this point, it's like 50% fluffed. So it's probably, twice as bad as they're telling us. So 1, global liquidity is the first burner for Bitcoin. 2, the economic situation is rough for everyone. And we make it worse by being materialistic, going into debt, buying stuff. So people basically either are smart and holding their capital on the sidelines, or they're just absolutely wrecked and they're in too much debt and they don't really have money to invest in Bitcoin. And then the third one here, let's get to the third one, which is, as they call it, leverage and animal spirits. Basically, once everyone gets the signals they need from the economy, from the markets, that's when they go in hard. That's when they get over leveraged. That's when the FOMO kicks in. And that's probably when the Bitcoin price rips overnight. So let's get the last one and then we'll wrap up this thread.
Burner number 3 is once the economy is running hot, once people are feeling confident in the economy and they're making money and they have money to speculate with, they start using leverage and they start pushing up the price of Bitcoin. And that's when they go further out on the risk curve and do stupid stuff like bet on crypto nonsense and altcoins. And I think that's why we'll have a bit of a cycle for those as well, but I don't really care about those. But I still think the good times are coming. It's just been delayed by several months because of all of this, the new administration and their policies that have created a bunch of uncertainty in the economy.
Exactly. That is the whole thing. Now, I know everyone's asking the whole time this year in the chat itself, everyone's like, all right, cool. Best news cycle ever. But like, when are we getting out of 100K, guys? Like, we've been seeing a lot of predictions. We're seeing the amount of capital that's potentially coming into Bitcoin. And everyone's like, just get me to like 200K first, please, before we start talking about crazy price movements.
We're such complainers.
You guys should have heard me complaining before the show.
Yeah, I know. Literally. No, but for real, we're such complainers. Like, we spent the first, like, these last 4 years, like, when are we getting to 100K? I want to get to 100K, blah, blah, blah. 100K came and went, and now we're at 113K. When are we going to get to 150, 200K? Bro,
sounds
patient.
Just like me. I'm so bored here. So
patient. Well, yeah, but people need to understand the world is so messed up right now economically, and Bitcoin is still the best performing asset in the last 15 years. Like, what else do you people want? Satoshi would be ashamed.
I want more.
I know. I want
I'm
more.
the Kobe meme.
More. No, I know. Me too. Like, listen, I'm human. I want more money for furniture and girl things. All right. However, I think we really need to be patient. And also, like, you need to lower your expectations because September is coming and it's not just supposed to be going sideways here. I think like we're about to dump hard.
Wow, so bearish on the show.
No. But it's just for a little bit because then
we're gonna talk about that later. So, because I said
we
that
will.
yesterday.
Stay tuned if you want to hear talking about this later.
I said that same thing yesterday, and everyone freaked out. They started calling me a bear.
Well, I think that if you think we're a bear, you need to smash the like button and share the show with your friends.
Okay.
So keep watching so that you can hear us be bullish in like about 20 minutes.
Literally in a day, we're gonna be bullish. All right.
Give it 10 minutes.
Yeah, no, in a week. In a week, we're going to be bullish. All right. So here, just summing up, here's the problem that Dr. Jeff Ross identified. One, the burner one, which is liquidity, suggests Bitcoin should be trading 40% higher. There's just so much liquidity. It just hasn't found its way into Bitcoin. And then, but burner two, the economy is acting like a brake pedal. And the result is Bitcoin's been trapped in this, 120, 105, 110 range here for the last, all of this year, 9-10 months. And so he was originally predicting a blow off top Bitcoin bull run peak in Q4 of 2025. But as he said, since it's delayed, we might be seeing more movement going into 2026. And so when the price stayed stagnant, Dr. Jeff Ross said, he was like, okay, I need to adjust this. And, like any smart person, and you guys yell at me all the time. It's like, OPTI, you said this like a month ago. And I'm like, yeah, I got new data and I've updated my thinking. I can change my real-time thoughts on the show. When I have incomplete data, I start changing it up because now I have new information. So when all three of these start firing, again, the liquidity continues to expand. It looks like we're going to see money printer get turned on either like in a week or end of Q4 or continuing into 2026. Because potentially, Jerome Powell seems to be on his way out, and it seems like Trump is stocking the Fed with people that are aligned with him. So the money printer is about to come on. And then the economy accelerates rapidly, which is kind of what all the upheaval is about. They had to basically turn the boat. And if they are able to figure this out, then once that kind of turns around, then of course the coin and the markets are going to get frothy. And then once they get frothy, that's when the FOMO and speculators come in. And this is when we will get our hockey stick. So he is now thinking that we'll see a delayed cycle peak in the first half of 2026, which is actually what a lot of the people in the chat been saying. They're like Q2 2026 is when we get blow off top. I've been saying for the last couple of weeks that it does feel like we are going to be pumping into Q6. So if we start to see Q4 of this year get a good run, I don't think it's going to end around Christmas like it usually does. I don't think December is going to be the end of this. I'm thinking maybe it's going to be somewhere around March of 2026. If we do see a parabolic bull run, we'll start to see a little cool down going into about Q2 of 2026. And as we're seeing, it's just like it's been a weird year for everyone. And of course, Bitcoin does, as of now, follow a lot of the traditional markets because the big players are watching the traditional markets, and that's how they start to judge whether they should be selling assets, holding assets. And for better or worse, we are still, a tiny pimple on the butt of traditional global capital markets. And so if they move, if they sneeze, then Bitcoin pukes. And so that's where we are right now, but Bitcoin does seem to rebound stronger and quicker than anything else. And I will talk about this a little later because, again, I got a lot of flack yesterday. Everyone's calling me a bear because I was thinking, hey, look, I think these interest rate cuts are on the horizon and we have more information on this, but I don't think it's going to be just like a catapult instantly and we start to get bullish markets. There might be a correction like, right when it's announced. So there might be a dip. I don't know where it's going to go. This is kind of my hedging my own thinking here. Personally, I'm bullish. We know what happened in 2024 when interest rates got cut. It sent the markets. But I'm starting to think maybe they don't have the control of the markets that they think they do. And if that's the case, that's the bearish scenario where markets react unfavorably. So look, I'm bullish. I'm bullish long term, guys. Just, you know, I'm hedging my thinking here so you guys don't think I'm just too bullish on the show. Anyway,
I think historically you're not wrong. Every time that there's been a sell the news event, Bitcoin has actually dipped. But then it goes up a couple of days later. So again, this is part of the Bitcoin ethos. This is called delayed gratification, low time preference. And this is when we have to start living our values as Bitcoiners, not just tweeting about it for likes online. I think it's really hard.
Shots fired.
It's really hard, but we're really living the Bitcoiner lifestyle here with this delayed gratification. And I think also the fact that, you know, it's not going to end in in December. It's not going to be like the regular peak that we're all used to. That's good too, honestly. I think that's good for the stability of Bitcoin. So if this means not the end of cycles, but like the changing of cycles, I think that's okay. Bullish.
I think Bitcoiners are the only ones that, look, you guys know me. I am as big a moon boy as anyone else. I am a moon boy. I am a obvious moon boy. I wear it as a badge. It used to be kind of a derogatory term. I'm a moon boy. I want to see Bitcoin rip. But I think Bitcoiners are probably the only people that are invested in any asset that when it goes down, we're like, cool, I get more of it. My time's worth more now, and I know it's going to rebound. So all of this really, you know, is just so you can kind of grasp where we are in the landscape of global markets. And so does this change our thesis around Bitcoin? Not at all. Our thesis is still the same. It's going to go up 21 million hard cap, everything divided by 21 million. People are starting to trickle into Bitcoin. People are starting to realize that they can't ignore this thing anymore. So if you are newer, it's still the same game plan. Stack sats, stay humble, stay solvent, and chill. It's all you got to do. Buy Bitcoin, or rather save in Bitcoin. Make sure you secure that Bitcoin and just repeat this process, and don't dump your bags because the markets are getting weird out there. This is the buying opportunity of a lifetime. Once it rips, it's going to be hard to see it coming back down here. So you might not get these prices for too long. This is the time to buy. But I do want to mention this tweet here, or this comment. Shouts out to Ron P with the $5 super chat. He said the usual $10 is reduced to $5 because of the bear-tardedness. Hey, I'm still bullish, man. I'm just looking at the I'm just looking at the markets, and I'm like, dude, I think they're cooked. Okay, I think they're cooked. And I don't think anything they're going to do will really change the course of where it's going. One rate cut isn't going to change the last 4 years. They still have a lot of work to do. So in the short term, again, like I said yesterday, this is still bullish. The short term, there's going to probably be some pain. This month, it might be some pain. Again, historically, September is like the worst month in Bitcoin returns. But hey, Q4 is around the corner, guys. So cheap sats before we start ripping. I don't know. It sounds bullish to me. Sounds super bullish to me. Okay.
This is everybody with a second property or whatever alternate investment in real estate you might have. This is your last chance to sell that beach house and trade it for Bitcoin so that you can possibly get a bigger beach house next cycle.
Let's go. Okay, guys. On that note, like I said, I have a new clip coming from the CIO of Blackrock. You can read this clip in a few different ways, but he also said very, very simply, assets are going to explode. We have some new news from the rage around FinCEN and the Bank Secrecy Act. It looks like Treasury is starting to reconsider that, which is extremely bullish. And then towards the end, the culture, I'm basically, guys, I'm making my case here. You guys trolled me yesterday. I literally got a text from one of my buddies and he was like, dude, OPTI, how are you such a bear on the show? So I'm going to make my case again because you guys must be mishearing me, okay? I'm not bearish on Bitcoin. I'm bearish on fiat, okay? It's two totally different things. It's very simple. Anyways, I do want to give a shout out to our boys over at Bitcoin Well. Go to bitcoinwell.com/simplybtc. Oh, I'm on the wrong one. Look at that. Whatever. It's fine. Scan the QR code and you will get 3 chances to win 1 million sats in the Bitcoin Wishing Well. And I do remember that I forgot to do it yesterday. I saw you guys trolling me at the end of the show. So remind me, I will make sure I give you guys some free Bitcoin at the end of the show. Maybe give me a heads up as I'm wrapping up because I might forget in 20 minutes. I'm like a goldfish here. But scan the QR code, of course. The reason we love them is because they can never rug pull your Bitcoin. They have never lost Bitcoin, and they will never lose Bitcoin because they never hold the Bitcoin. Once the fiat goes through, it goes directly to your cold storage. This is the best way to buy your Bitcoin. All right, on that note, let's get into the rest of the show.
I want to give a shout out to our partner, Stampseed. Is your Bitcoin in cold storage really secure? Are your seed phrases really secure? Stampseed's do-it-yourself kit has everything you'll need for you to hammer your seed words into commercial-grade titanium plates. Instead of just writing them down on paper, paper is fragile. Titanium plates are strong. Your words are actually stamped into the titanium plate with this hammer and these letter stamping tools. Once the words are in, they aren't going anywhere. No risk of the plate breaking apart and pieces falling everywhere. Titanium stamp seeds will survive nearly triple the heat produced by a house fire. They are also crush-proof, waterproof, non-corrosive, and time-proof. And now you can customize your titanium seed plates. You can upload your design or logo and they will laser engrave it on the back of your seed plate, the opposite side of where the words are. Stamp your seed on Stampseed and use promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off anything on the stampseed.com store.
Okay, here we are on Clark Moody's dashboard. The current Bitcoin price is 113,980. A decline from all-time high is -8.4. So the price is pumping, guys. It's well, I mean, I guess it's pumping. You know, we were at what, 110 yesterday. I know it kissed 114 earlier today. So hey, there's still some life.
We're improving.
Yeah, there's life. You know what? A little bit of progression is good. We'll take that. So the market cap currently at 2.27 trillion, and the current block height, TikTok next block, Bitcoin works exactly as designed. We're at 914 and 96, 914096. So first of all, you know, don't get sidetracked by Pete Rizzo's clickbait hyperbolic tweet here. I don't know if it's as bullish as this tweet makes it out to be, but this is an interesting pulse check of how institutions are looking at Bitcoin. There's a few points of this that I do want you guys to focus on. So let's check this out and we'll be right back.
What do you think the ideal portfolio is supposed to look like today? We're surrounded by investors. We're surrounded quite literally by financial advisors who are thinking about that. Retail investors who are watching. I mean, what does it look like today?
Very different than the past. So maybe I'll start with the equity market. I mean, the first thing I would say, we're going through the most extraordinary technology dynamic I've ever seen before. I would stay long equities. By the way, you can buy vol. You can buy volatility very cheaply to manage your exposure. I'd stay long equities oriented to where growth in technology is. In fixed income, income is amazing. You're still clipping 6%. Would I stay 5 years in on the curve? I'd still clip that coupon. We're extending a little bit out. And then quite frankly, I mean, there's some interesting things to do in privates, bespoke markets. And I think hard assets have to enter the equation today. Gold, Bitcoin, things that give you a little bit of ballast in the portfolio against potential for currency depreciation.
When you talk about Bitcoin should be part of the portfolio, what kind of percentage are you thinking about? Is it a 5%, which generally seems to be what people are talking about, more or less?
It seems high to me. So I run our global allocation fund. You know, we're running long equities. You know, we're heavy income. You know, we're running, you know, in the 3 to 5% region on gold. Gold strikes me today as a better currency hedge. Bitcoin tends to trade with vol, tends to trade with the NASDAQ. So we're running considerably lower than that in crypto. I just think it's going to go up, and I think it's a good expression. But 5 seems high to me, but it depends where you are in your life and how much risk you want to take.
Well, we'll see you on the stage, the big stage, I said, as the headline speaker, the keynote today. Rick Reeder, thank you.
love to see it. Love to see it. So a few things before we really chat about, you know, the big conversation here. One, as we constantly tell you guys, and now it's seemingly going into the mainstream, we are in if not the greatest, one of the greatest technological shifts in the moment. And of course, I think it's going to be driven with Bitcoin. Most people kind of lean on AI as that's the technological shift. I think it's basically Bitcoin, and AI gets all the hype and all the buzz, but Bitcoin is the fundamental technological shift that is going to change everything. And now the second thing, of course, as he was saying, look, there's some interesting plays in the market, specifically, you know, all the other vehicles and mediums that he's talking about, products that he's talking about, I totally ignored them. But he did say, you know, assets are going to go up. Yeah, I wonder why. The money printer's about to go burr. So, of course, assets are going to go up. But the interesting take of this is not that he said, oh, I think Bitcoin's going to go up a lot or crypto is going to go up a lot. I think the interesting take of this is when he was asked, what is your portfolio allocation? And they said, so what, like 5%, which to us is just like laughable. You're like, oh, you're only putting 5% in Bitcoin. Like, smart move, bro. Super smart move, man. Really taking the risk on that one. He's like, no, that's too high. He's like, I'm in the 3 to 5%. So I think this is a good pulse check of what the big institutional managers, what Wall Street thinks of Bitcoin. Yes, as I said yesterday, I've been saying the last couple of weeks, yes, they're dipping their toes in Bitcoin, but at a 3% allocation, that like 5% is too high for them. We're talking about sailors saying you need to go 150% in Bitcoin. Like, what are we talking about?
You
Your 5%
go into debt and buy some Bitcoin.
Like, it's laughable how late
Also,
they are to
can we
this.
talk about how it's in his best interest to talk about how real estate is gonna go up?
Yeah, boomers love real estate.
No, but BlackRock
yeah,
specifically
loves real estate. They own all the real estate.
Yeah,
But that number, 5% is too high. I think this is a perfect zeitgeist of what Wall Street thinks of Bitcoin. They're like, look, let's throw out quarters to Bitcoin and then we'll talk later.
BlackRock owns more than 5%. Like, was he talking about his personal?
Yeah, I think that was personal.
Like,
that was personal
but
portfolio.
BlackRock has, you know, more than 5%.
Million coins now, or like 700,000
So,
coins or something. But again, that's not BlackRock's coin. That's customers buying the ETF.
Whatever. It's under BlackRock's
I get
custody.
it. I get
your
it.
keys, not your cheese.
I get it. But the 1% love their 1%. Exactly. Hey, look, let me just throw 1% at it. This is true. This is true.
I think he's lying. I think he personally owns a lot more than 5% of his personal portfolio in Bitcoin. I think he just doesn't want to say, but whatever.
Yeah, agreed. They got to be conservative on the television. Obviously, they still have to think about their reputations. And for better or worse, where we are right now is it's no longer, you know, career suicide to recommend Bitcoin, but it is career suicide to go full sailor. You know, you can't go full sailor on all of the Wall Street conversations, institution conversations. So they're like, hey, you know, 3% sounds good. But as a Lightning Gut said, if they all went in 5%, we'd probably pass the gold market cap. Like, yeah. So, hey, baby steps. I'll take baby steps here. They may not be all in on Bitcoin yet, but we'll take a little bit of their capital and, you know, pump our bags a little bit. Hey, I'm okay with this. Bitcoin's for enemies. You know, I love rich people as long as they buy Bitcoin.
I love Bitcoin billionaires.
100%. 50% is too low.
I was telling OPTI as the video was going, I love it when billionaires know something that I already knew. It's like we ran the billionaires, guys. Like, we did it.
Well, it also, on the flip side, just shows that either one, billionaires aren't as smart as people make them out to be. Like they're no different than we are. They just understand something of the market that other people didn't, and of course just kept going a long time when we're persistent about it. Or, you know, blowing up my own ego here, maybe we're a lot smarter than we say we are. Maybe I don't have a 42 IQ. Now that's a lie. We all know I do have a 42 IQ, but hey,
stop telling people you're smart, Opti.
yeah, let's not.
We're gonna get put on a list.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not smart. I literally have a 42 IQ. So don't take financial advice from me. I'm just a guy that covers Bitcoin news, you know, and I love this. So anyways, let's keep this moving. We have an interesting story. Before I make my case that I think I think the markets are in for a little trouble, guys. But news first. We're seeing some potential reform around the Bank Secrecy Act, which would be, I would say, incredible here. So let's cover that, and then we'll have a little fun at the end of the show.
I want to give a shout out to our partner, Ledin, the leader in Bitcoin-backed loans. Unlock the liquidity in your Bitcoin without having to sell your Bitcoin. They've issued $9 billion in loans to over 10,000 customers since 2018. I absolutely love these guys. Not only do I have an account with them, but I also have a loan. And what I love about them is that there are no monthly payments, and you could pay back the loan at any time. As soon as you send your Bitcoin as collateral, you'll have cash in your account within 24 hours. Over 1,000 five-star customer reviews, and they've never lost a single dollar or sat of customer money. Go to learn.ledin.io/simply today, and you'll get 0.25% off your first loan. I want to give a shout out to our partner, sat123.com. Sovereignty isn't just about your money. It's about your communications too. When the grid goes down, most people go dark. Cell towers fail in hurricanes, cyber attacks, and blackouts. But satellite phones? They don't rely on local infrastructure. Iridium has 77 satellites in orbit, giving you a direct line anywhere in the US, even offshore. If you hold your own Bitcoin keys, you should hold your own comms too. Sat123.com also has everything you need to start building your Bitcoin citadel. Starlink, battery backups, Faraday bags to protect your hardware wallets, and much, much more. It's a one-stop shop for anyone serious about resilience and off-grid independence. Stay connected, stay independent, stay sovereign. Go to sat123.com/simply today and use promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off anything on the store.
Sorry, guys. Storm just hit us. Storm literally just hit us.
It was so sunny like 2 seconds ago. It was like a beautiful day, and now
So hey, if electricity pops off, you know why. I think we'll be good.
God, has that happened?
No, it hasn't. But I keep warning them because it's just dumping, and I'm like, okay, let's hope the show lasts. Anyways, all right. So. First of all, shouts out the Rage. I've been hyping up the Rage for a minute. They've been doing incredible work in regards to privacy in the Bitcoin space, and then further in the traditional financial markets. And so their latest report dropping this morning is this very interesting story. So Treasury is working on Bank Secrecy Act reform, FinCEN director says. And again, you know, Lola, I'm pretty sure this is Lola who writes this stuff. She is, how do I say this? Very flamboyant in her writing and has a very strong bias, which I personally love. You may not like this because you want a journalist that is quote unquote more unbiased, but personally, I love her journalism. So the subtitle is, while she has no idea how many BSA reports have led to arrests, reevaluating the Bank Secrecy Act to improve efficiency is, quote, key objective for this administration. And she goes on, banks hate it, businesses hate it, the people hate it, and increasingly lawmakers are beginning to hate it too. The Bank Secrecy Act, placing broad reporting requirements on financial institutions, causing them to collect anything from your birthday to, quote, suspicious transactions. The BSA, the Bank Secrecy Act, has first and foremost been a complete failure in curbing financial crime. While the Bank Secrecy Act is by far not the only piece of legislation signed into law by the ultimate illiterate Richard Nixon that's managed to screw up our financial system 55 years into the future, His other most prominent achievement was, of course, ending the gold standard. It is likely the most annoying one, at least for banks, businesses, and anyone trying to access their finances, and should be respectively ended. Let's go there. So now the Treasury is actively looking into reforming the Bank Secrecy Act. They said in yesterday's hearing on the evaluation of the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, FinCEN, that took place before the GOP Financial Service Committee. So apparently only 5% of the filed Bank Secrecy Act reports accessed by law enforcement in 9 years. So it was meant to discuss the history and impact of the Bank Secrecy Act to assess these tools. The big question is how to do it at all while avoiding surveillance of law-abiding citizens. Doesn't seem to be much of a concern since 2001.
Can I just say this is like such a violation of the Fourth Amendment, this whole entire thing? Like, how can you just all of a sudden, how can you demand people to give you something about their finances that they might not necessarily want to give? I mean, if you're paying taxes, I don't understand why the government needs to be involved in the know-how of your financial business. That's just me.
Yeah, very extremist take. I don't know. There was a very big bill that was passed after 2001. I think suspended all of our liberties here. Anyways, a quote: "The Bank Secrecy Act has morphed into a bloated surveillance machine demanding endless reports from banks, businesses, and individuals without delivering proportionate results. Further, part of the problem seems to be that FinCEN is overwhelmed with the data it collects. In addition, the Bank Secrecy Act puts sensitive personal information at the risk of hacks," Congressman finally says, and she, goes on and just kind of gets caught with her hand in the cookie jar. So, quote, "We are in the midst of a Treasury-wide exploration of how to reform the Bank Secrecy Act regime, and it is being called, quote, a key objective of the current administration. In particular, the Treasury will be looking at reforming current reporting requirements and potentially adjusting reporting thresholds to increase the Bank Secrecy Act efficiency." So, hopefully that means higher, I'm guessing, but maybe their efficiency is lower so they get more data.
I think it needs to just go away completely.
I'm with that.
How can you enforce something like this when something like Bitcoin exists, which, by the way, simultaneously lets you know what's going on in a ledger, right? So it does protect that. It does kind of like provide that sense of security that the cops or the feds, I guess, are looking for. But at the same time, it affords privacy for individuals who are not committing crimes, which, should be total, this should be the standard. I just don't understand why this isn't the standard yet. I do understand.
You're such an extremist take, Sophie. I was going to say something else, but I just blanked on what I was going to say. We can't have two extremists on this show.
We didn't blank.
Yeah, I purposely censored myself like everyone on Rumble says. No, I just completely forgot.
Proud of you.
I completely forgot what I was going to say. Anyways, this is probably the kicker of this, which just shows how ineffective it is. But the director of the Treasury's own Financial Intelligence Unit wasn't able to tell how efficient or inefficient the Bank Secrecy Act really was. Quote, "I'm sorry, I don't have those numbers off the top of my head," she replied, who asked her how many of the tens of millions of Bank Secrecy Act reports filed each year led to actual arrest. And of course, this isn't the first time that FinCEN is clueless on how effective the Bank Secrecy Act is. So look.
It's totally used to weaponize why am I forgetting how to say the word cops? It's used to the police, the Department of Justice. I'm like really losing it today, guys. Sorry, pregnancy brain is like killing me. But it's being used to weaponize these departments against regular people and keep people afraid of the government. And this should scare individuals. This should be the biggest wake-up call into going full send into Bitcoin. Like, this is why people like Michael Saylor are like, put your 100. It's not just about the gains, right? Like, it's not just about number go up. And like, I know we talk about it a lot and, it's clickbaity and whatever, and it makes like the majority of you guys tune in. But now that you're here, listen to the privacy aspects and the parts that protect you as an individual, the promises of this country, Bitcoin is actually fulfilling, while the other parts of government and the monetary system are not. And that's really like the biggest reason why you should go all in on Bitcoin.
Yeah, I mean, look, so as Soph said so nicely, I might be a little harsher here, but I think at this point, if you are a Bitcoiner, or you're looking at what is going on with clear eyes and not a bias towards fiat system, and if you're really looking at the current situation, like the social climate right now and what's coming out of these administrations, whether you like them or not, I think one thing is very glaring to me, and it's just like these institutions either one have failed, or two are designed to work this way and inherently have failed based on their initial kind of proposals of what they're supposed to do. So look, I was like this for a long time before I even got into Bitcoin, with the idea that I don't trust any of these institutions. And now, whether they're admitting that there's something broken or not, it's becoming very, very clear that there is something wrong. And is it what the system was designed to do? Did it lose its kind of way? And, now it's this kind of monster that doesn't actually benefit anyone but the people that control it. You can make up that own decision in your own brain with your own framing. But what is very clear is that things aren't working as they should be, or rather things are not working for us, and there needs to be change. And we believe from just the fundamentals, if you fix the money, if we get a better money in there that no one can control with the better incentives, then things will start changing. And like you said, Bitcoin, it's a pseudonymous open ledger. You can check the ledger all you want.
I mean, I think
doesn't mean I got to show you what. I don't own any Bitcoin. It doesn't mean I got to show you what I own.
lost it in a boating accident, actually. But I think for better or for worse, the fact that we have, at the top level of government, somebody who this system was used against him, whether you like him or not, I think that was a huge wake-up call to, President Trump and everybody around him that something has to change. And I think that's why he's the first Bitcoiner president. I think that's why he wants to make changes at the Fed. I think that's why he wants to make changes with the Bank Secrecy Act. I mean, he's not perfect. We're not getting everything that we want, but the news is mostly positive when it comes to Bitcoin. And I think it's because one of the biggest weapons that they had against him, aside from the media, which, the decentralization of media, we talked about it before, it's super important. It's also the decentralization of finances, because they've used this weapon against individuals so many times for personal reasons, not for criminal reasons, not for reasons that had to go against the security of this country, but for personal and political reasons, that if they could do it to somebody like Donald Trump, they could do it to you and me. Don't get it twisted. Just because he's a little bit crazy doesn't mean that, this didn't happen. And we all saw it happen. They froze his bank accounts. They took certain privileges away from him. They almost tried to put him in jail. So I'm just glad that this stuff is finally starting to get resolved. Oh my God, what is this? Look at
Lagarde's. Yes, I don't have Bitcoin because Christine Lagarde stole it from me. Some might say confiscated. I don't know. Some might say it's a gift. It depends on the angle. Okay, maybe I liked her. All right.
Wait, a gift?
A gift?
A gift?
Yeah.
What were you doing with her that she had to pay you?
I'm treating my baby right. I'm treating my baby right. All right, guys. Let me live. All right. Let Opti live a little bit. Sheesh. Okay. Gosh.
Opti's taking one for the team.
I'm taking one for humanity. Okay. I'm doing good by you. All right. Anyway.
Guys, it's raining so hard. I'm like scared right now.
No, it's cooling off. It's cooling. All right, let's get to the culture.
I want to give a shout out to our partner, HIVE Digital Technology. Why HIVE in 2025? Unstoppable growth. As the first ever public miner, HIVE's position to quadruple their global footprint, making them one of the world's fastest growing miners in 2025. And with elite operations that consistently top the industry in Bitcoin mined per exahash, HIVE's now headquartered in the USA. They're lean and mean, they're green and clean, and they're rewriting the playbook on sustainable Bitcoin mining. You can catch the latest buzz at HIVE Digital Tech or at HIVEdigitaltech.com. I want to give a shout out to our partner, bitcoinben.io. If you're into freedom, Bitcoin, and building a real community, this is for you. Gain exclusive access to real-world, members-only, private clubs across the globe, featuring poker nights, expert-led classes, co-working spaces, educational meetups, live events, and more. Current locations include Sarasota, Nashville, Boston, Dallas, Las Vegas, and St. Louis, with new clubs launching soon in West Palm Beach, Scottsdale, Alabama, and beyond. Not to mention Bitcoin Ben's resorts in El Salvador. There's 3 of them, and they're absolutely beautiful. You'll also get access to the first fully backed Bitcoin bank with fiat ramps and savings accounts. It's called Private Key Bank, and you guessed it, it's based out of El Salvador. Go peer-to-peer with Bitcoin bulk buys, tap into home equity for long-term Bitcoin growth, and join their exclusive mining pools if you're interested in mining. What are you waiting for? Head over to bitcoinben.io, join today, where Bitcoin meets freedom.
All right, chat's cooking OPTI right now. Okay, I'm getting cooked in the chat.
He's definitely not a Rostapute.
I am getting cooked right now. All right, anyways, guys, I'm doubling down. All right, you guys think you can bully me out of my opinion? No, I am doubling down. So yesterday I was saying, look, on the one hand, rate cuts are very bullish in regards to what will happen to Bitcoin. Obviously, when the interest rates go down and most likely the purchasing power or dollar dominance also kind of goes down, then people look for riskier assets to invest in. And whether we think Bitcoin is risky or not, the mass majority of people think that Bitcoin is risky. But if they're not getting the returns in the safe haven assets, aka treasuries, which now we have new data showing us that central banks are accumulating gold at a higher rate than they are of treasuries, first time since 1996. So even the central banks don't want treasuries. They're going to have to find a demand for this. Now, there is the angle of stable coins, et cetera. I don't need to go all the way down that rabbit hole. But essentially, what I was trying to say yesterday, before everyone started calling me a bear and, piling in, I literally had friends texting me like, bro, your take was so bearish, like L take, bro. And I'm like, look,
you got cooked.
Yeah, I got cooked.
You got cooked in the
got cooked in the chat, and I got cooked in my DMs, in my text messages. And I was like, look, I'm not saying I'm bearish on Bitcoin. All I'm saying is that I'm bearish on the fiat system. And if everyone's saying that interest rates are going to propel the economy, it's going to propel the markets, it's going to be super bullish for the markets, I agree with it in theory that yes, that's what should happen. But what might happen is the opposite, is essentially they can't control the levers like they used to. And if the markets don't react how they think it will when they cut interest rates, then that is a signal of what is going on. And that is a signal of a bigger problem. And that's what I was trying to say yesterday, especially when you look at the fact that gold is going to all-time highs. We saw the labor market reform revisions yesterday. About 1 million jobs literally vanished, or rather weren't there. And I kept saying the same thing to you guys. It's like, look, if you are like these traditional financial investors, if you are, a TradFi normie over there and you're not a Bitcoiner that is skeptical of all the data, you're working data, what you're basing all of your investments on is the official quote unquote data coming out of these institutions. And what we found out yesterday is that what we've been saying for a long time is correct, that the data is completely fake. And if these people are starting to realize that the data is fake, then they're going to panic. And if the economy doesn't react how they think it's going to with these interest rates, it could be a panic short-term scenario. Long-term, I'm bullish. I think Q4 is still going to be great. But I saw this clip yesterday of Scott Bessent, and there's actually like a good kind of response to this. But I'm going to play the clip because I think this is telling us a lot more than just, what's going on in the labor market. So the tweet is, if the Fed is data dependent and the data is bad, then makeup cuts are needed. Is essentially calling for more interest rates. But I'm stopping at the beginning of this. If the Fed's data is bad and they are quote unquote data dependent, then we're literally the freaking coyote off the cliff here. Like, what are we talking about here? They're making moves based on data that is completely not even close to reality, and people are basing their investments off of this. It's like, am I the only one? Am I taking crazy pills? Like, if
the data is bad, we need an audit.
Extremist take.
We need an audit. Like, I'm sorry, if the data
or just
is
dump
bad,
it. Just don't trust it. Just dump it. Just
fine,
buy Bitcoin.
We need makeup cuts, but those makeup cuts need to be based on real data. How do you get real data? You run an audit. Audit Fort Knox, audit the Fed, audit the whole freaking government before we start talking about like making up random arbitrary numbers by which to cut the Fed. I think we really if the data is bad, we need an audit.
If the data is bad and you're trading off the data,
the government
what are you
would
doing?
audit you in 2.5 seconds if you lied on your tax returns. They would put you in a box. They would put you in jail. But they don't get audited? That's ridiculous.
All right. Now, here is, before I play the clip, I do want to cover this a lot, this second sentence of this tweet. Obviously, he's got to be favorable for the president. And look,
we
cool.
love that.
Yeah, like cool. But this sentence, from my perspective, is nonsense. So he goes, POTUS showed us the system was broken, and now it's time to fix it with real data. Wait. Wait, so the system's broken, but we just need real data to fix it? No, it's broken. It's fundamentally broken.
Period.
Anyway, let's play this clip, and then I'll continue to make my case.
If the Fed says they're data dependent and the data has been atrocious, then it seems like there's probably some makeup cuts in order here, or the size of this month's cut needs to be recalibrated. And sure, it can be fixed. Anything can be fixed. You just have to we had to establish that it was broken, which President Trump did. Now we have to go about fixing it. And it wasn't working well before, that kind of this lazy notion that they had dropped down to these low response rates, 30, 40% response rates, and they intuited the balance. Intuiting the balance is going from quantitative to qualitative. We need good empirical data, and it's not easy to get to, but you got to want to get there, and we want to get there. I think EJ is a great person to do it. I've known him for years. He's high integrity, data-driven, the ruthless truth pursuer.
Oh man,
this
love
is
it.
All such political.
Love to hear it.
Love
to hear it. Look, the only real economic data in the world is the Bitcoin time chain. That's the only real economic data, period. What the price of Bitcoin is, what the volume of people buying Bitcoin are, what is going into these blocks, when the blocks are coming in. That's the only real data, period. End of story. Everything else is fake. This is why we say fix the money, fix the world. We got to get back to a real denominator here. If all of their data is broken, they're data dependent, this is what's driving interest rate cuts. This is what's driving the economy.
It's so close.
It's just, it's literally insane that it's like, okay, what we've been doing isn't good. It's because the data's wrong. It's only because the data's wrong the last 4 years. Whereas we're looking at this like, no, the data's been wrong. Officially starting.
Money is wrong.
Yeah, it officially started in 1913 when the data was wrong, and then it officially went haywire in 1971. And you're looking back at just the last 4 years as the data's wrong. We're like, no, the money's been broken for the last freaking century. And we're talking about, we just need better data, and we're going to fix this system. And it's like, no, like if it's broken, how about we just try something new? I don't know. Crazy thought here. Anyways, I do want to kind of expand a little bit on kind of what's going on with these interest rates. So I'm not going to read the whole Trump tweet here. Again, he's going super hard on everyone in Powell. And, you know, he actually says something interesting here. So Jerome Powell, aka Too Late, has done a terrible job since he adapted a 2 target. It's too low. It's too rigid. They follow data that's years delayed. They don't believe that the money supply matters. It's like the Pope not believing in Jesus. We think that's a much bigger problem than this notion that they are dependent or not independent. I mean, look, hot take. You know, a little bit of blasphemy in there, I think. But hey, you know, whatever floats your boat here.
Yeah, but also they're like not independent.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, I agree with him. It's like, look, let's get over the charade of it being independent.
Like, forget the fact that they cut rates every single time there's a political situation they need to control. We're just going to forget about that.
We're just going to forget about that. Anyways, to end this, he goes, Chair Powell was late to raise rates. They need to come down here. There's no question about it. He's dragging his feet. And here is where it probably gets crazy. The Fed's going to come down here 50, 75, maybe 100 bips. So not just 0.5%, 1%. Guys, if we see a 1% cut in interest rates, absolutely insane. That's going to be nuts. Anyways, last thing, the US PPI falls to 2.6%. I really love Simon Dixon's coverage. He goes lower than expectations. Unemployment increasing as if by magic. The short-term data gives them what they need for a 50 basis point cut. Stocks, real estate, Bitcoin, and gold near all-time high. We are running the economy hot, fueled by asset price inflation. All I'm saying is, look, the data is completely fake. We know that now. It's become very obvious to everyone. We know they're going to cut rates. Now it's basically, I think the odds on Polymarket are like 98%, 99%. So it's almost a given they're going to cut rates. How hard are they going to cut rates? Who knows? How are people going to react to those rate cuts? We really don't know. There's still, you know, some questions up for grab, but when's 15th? Is that Monday? Let me see. Monday rate cuts. Interesting. Let's see.
I thought it was interesting how he said that you know, we might have to reevaluate the cuts, like as if it's not going to be enough.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If we see a 1% rate cut
and they say that it's not enough, we're gonna
like, well, we will eventually, but the markets are going to tank.
What?
Yeah, they're going to take on that announcement. If it's not enough, they're going to tank.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah, the markets are going to tank, but that still means, hey, free money, more liquidity in the system. Bitcoin's going to rip. Like, it's going to be a short term
proof of stake part of all this.
Yeah, it's going to be a short term decline, but then it's going to rip. Look, that's all I'm saying, guys. This is all I'm saying. He
should have just like curbed people's expectations.
Nah, they're getting bullish. So I think it's September 15th is the decision date. I'm pretty sure that's the date I have remembered. And so when's that? Is that 5 days from now? Is that that's Monday. Monday. We will see. We will see what happens Monday, guys. So, you know, you can call me stupid on Monday. Hey, look, I'll eat the crow if I'm wrong. If Bitcoin starts ripping, if all the markets start ripping and, you know, they're able to control this. Hey, I'm all for this. I want my personal favorite asset to rip as well. All I'm saying is I'm sure a lot of people are cautious of what's going to happen in the economy. No one knows. That's the big kind of signal here. No one knows what's going to happen. They think they know, but could their data be that far off? Yes.
Yes.
That's all I'm saying. Okay?
Imagine Trump like this entire time has been asking.
Oh, he's saying
Jerome
Wednesday.
Powell,
They're saying Wednesday. Wednesday.
A week from today. Imagine Trump this entire time has been pushing Jerome Powell for like a 2% cut, and that's why he's just like, absolutely not.
I don't know, man. Maybe what if we do see 2% rate cuts, but just back to back? Look, I'm all for that.
That would be cool.
I'm all for this. Okay.
I'm down for that.
Okay. I'm all for this. Look, all I'm saying is, look, long term, I'm here for it. I'm all for this. Short term, I don't know. I'm a little cautious of what's going to happen in the global markets on next Wednesday when they announce this. If they don't get it under control,
we might
we're in a new
just have
paradigm.
to like live cover this. Someone is saying that it's on 17th.
Oh, it's the 17th. I thought it was the 15th. Okay, the 17th.
2 p.m.
Okay, sorry, my dates were off. I thought it was the 15th, but it's the 17th. All right.
We might have to run an extended version of Simply Bitcoin that day.
2 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, we might have to keep it going. Culture might just be real-time interest rate coverage.
Just know that day we're probably going to be like extra late.
That should be fun. Honestly, let's see if starting this next week where we see some pricing in the market, specifically gold and Bitcoin. If we start seeing the markets rip the hard assets, then I'm pretty sure interest rates are going to come. I think it's a given they're coming. Will they be, hawkish or dovish? Will they be big or small? It's up for debate, but we will know in real time with the Bitcoin price what people think of this. So if it's not good, the price is going to dump. If it's good, it's going to pump. Just look at the data. The only data that matters, the price of Bitcoin. It's the only data that matters. It's the only data in the economy that's good. What's going on Bitcoin?
That and the hash rate.
That's what I'm saying. And the hash rate's going nuclear, guys. So, hash precedes price. Anyways, this is the end of the show. So
I will be here the rest of the week.
Yeah, Soph is here.
Also, it's literally thundering outside. It's
Can you guys hear the thunder?
Crazy. It's crazy.
I don't know if you guys
outside.
heard that. But yeah, guys, we're in for an interesting next week, to say the least. This is the time to be stacking, but you might get one more stacking opportunity or not. I don't know. Who knows?
Do the Bitcoin
oh, there we go. Okay.
This is a stacking opportunity.
This is a stacking opportunity. Okay, let me log in over here, guys. Look at Sophie saving you guys. Okay, so if you guys don't know what this is, pull out your Lightning wallets. I am giving away free Bitcoin. We are over here on our boys Bitcoin Well, and when you sign up, or when you buy Bitcoin, or when you refer people to Bitcoin Well, you get points to play the Wishing Well. And you got a chance to win up to 1 million sats. Oops, wrong one. Here we go. Sophie's getting her phone out. She's trying to take the sats.
Yeah.
Redeem sats. And let's see how many sats and who gets the sats. So 547 sats, and since I missed yesterday, I'll give you some sats today. And looks like we got to buy some Bitcoin over here because we're running out of Wishing Well points. Okay, another one, and then we are gone for today, and we'll be back tomorrow. So another 552 sats. So first come, first serve. Scan this. This is probably why you should be watching it on your computer, because we give away free Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And I think also Rumble gets them first, so maybe you want to watch over there. But it is what it is. Anyways, we love you guys. We appreciate you guys. Thank you for coming to the show. Of course, smash the like button. Comment on the show. Is OPTI a bear or not? And of course, hit the sub. Sophie is recording another Satoshi tonight, so
yes.
we got content for you guys coming later today. Love you guys. We appreciate you. We will see you tomorrow. Peace out.
Today's episode was brought to you by BitcoinWell.com, a Bitcoin-only platform on a mission to enable financial independence.